Good evening, everyone. I'm Ondine Sherman. I'd like to thank you for attending this year's Voiceless Animal Law Lecture Series. I'm delighted to see so many of our friends here this evening and supporters. And before we begin, I would like to acknowledge and pay respect to the traditional owners of the land, the Gadigal people of the Eora Nation. It is upon their ancestral lands that we meet here tonight. I'd like to extend a very special welcome to the Honourable Justice Melissa Perry, who's the second row, who's been a terrific supporter. Alex Greenwich, MLA, David and Faith Waisbrod, Claire Ainsworth, Julian and Annie Beaumont, Naomi Simpson, Frank Zipfinger, who are amongst some of Voiceless's strongest supporters. I'd also like to thank the University of Sydney's Professor Jo Ellen Riley, Dean of the Faculty of Law, and Celeste Black, Animal Law Lecturer, the Senior Animal Law Lecturer. And of course, David Ritter, who is the CEO of Greenpeace Australia, who has joined us this evening as well and will be giving a bit of a talk. And our keynote speaker, Will Potter. Will be spearheading the Voiceless Law Lecture Series in 14 different localities, boardrooms and universities across the country. It has been 10 years since Ondine and I founded Voiceless, and the 10th anniversary is a great moment to pause and to reflect on what has transpired. And thank you to my wife, Dr. Ondine Sherman, who's running in the corridor somewhere at the moment, who incidentally has 2 doctorates from this university and chairs the Voiceless Council. Up front, I would also like to acknowledge our dedicated exec team and our staff. Elaine, Elise, Eleanor. It's mandatory, in fact, if you work for Voiceless, to have a name that starts with an E. Manny, our legal counsel, Zoe, all the legal interns, and those many people who have assisted us along the way. It's clear that we have witnessed a huge societal shift in the last decade. 10 years ago, animal rights was considered a dirty term, a negative stereotype, so to speak. But it is now seen for what it really is: a movement of rational, compassionate citizens advocating against animal cruelty. For 10 years, we have worked tirelessly to help build the animal rights movement, to build, inter alia, animal law, which effectively did not exist 10 years ago. 10 years of exposing legalized cruelty, factory farming, the commercial kangaroo industry, etc. 10 years of educating and investigating. 10 years of voiceless grants handed out to individuals and organizations trying to alleviate the suffering of animals. 10 years of never talking to our clients who cannot talk. They are essentially voiceless. I'd now like to hand over to my co-founder, my co-managing director, the inspiration, the spark and soul of our organization, my daughter, Ondine.
Hi everyone, so lovely to see you all. I'll just add on Brian's words with a few more details. Since our launch in 2004, Voiceless has continued to spread the animal protection message, bringing the institutionalised suffering of animals to the forefront of Australia's agenda and establishing animal protection as the next great social justice movement. Some of our key achievements. 10 years ago, we hired the first animal lawyer in Australia, and since then we've seen a massive growth in the animal law movement. When we started, only one law school taught animal law, and law firms were too nervous to engage with us. Today, animal law is being taught at 14 universities across the country, and Voiceless fields countless offers of pro bono support from top-tier law firms. Young, smart and committed legal interns also form the backbone of our volunteer program. We've created networks of lawyers, politicians, and business professionals to influence law, policy, business, and public opinion. These include Voiceless patrons, such as the former High Court Judge Michael Kirby, and our council, including neurosurgeon Dr. Charlie Teo, and former Secretary of the Department of the Treasury, Dr. Ken Henry. Our research and reports that we've published expose animal industries and the law, exposing cruelty and informing debate. The reports have led directly to debates in both federal and state parliaments, including the New South Wales and South Australia House of Assemblies, the Commonwealth Senate, and the New South Wales Legislative Council. They've been publicised online by the Food and Agricultural Organisation of the United Nations as well. Voiceless creates a groundswell for change, for social change, by building the Australian animal protection movement with our annual grants. We have given over $1.3 million, including funding the very successful Meat Free Week initiative, the Animal Defenders Office, a non-profit community legal centre specialising in animal law, and the University of Tasmania to create its first ever animal law conference in 2013, as well as hundreds of other grants that have seed funded the movement. And of course, the Voiceless Animal Law Lecture Series. Every year, this series attracts national media coverage that reaches tens of thousands of Australians, including the Sydney Morning Herald and the ABC's Radio National, spreading the word about animal law and the need for change. As you can see, animal protection is now part of the mainstream. It is actively discussed in law, politics, and the media. This is an enormous success and not to be taken lightly, but it's not enough. Farm animals are still suffering terrible atrocities on a daily basis behind closed doors. Mutilations without pain relief, permanent confinement indoors, kangaroos shot and wounded in their thousands, far from the public eye. We have such a long way to go and a huge amount of work to do to transform the goodwill of so many Australians into concrete results for animals. But Voiceless is prepared, and we know this is a marathon and not a sprint. And on nights like tonight, and it's heartening to see all of you here, I thank all of you who have supported Voiceless over the past 10 years, and I hope you will continue to join us as we advocate for animals in the coming decade. I'd like to now pass on to Manny Gouffry, our very excellent Voiceless legal counsel and part of our executive team. Right.